Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Ascension Tips. I've been trying to feel into this next video and I thought, why not, let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's be a little bit out there and say out loud some of the more crazier kind of things that I can experience and have experienced and continue to experience. And not to be like, hey, look at me, I'm seemingly crazy. Because I'm not crazy, although there's been moments in my journey where I very much question my sanity. Oh yes, that's a thing that can happen. But I've learned a lot along the way as I've been awakening for many years now. And it's a complicated journey, right? Life is complicated in the most simplest of ways, just being human and trying to live. Add to that an ascension process and spiritually awakening, things can get very confusing and complicated and beautiful and traumatic, and you can experience so many new, well, you tell me. What are you experiencing? What are you feeling? What's shifting within you? What's changing in your reality? How are you feeling? Are you seeing things differently? Is the world around you external? Are you noticing changes there? Because yeah, that's been happening. But it's more about what's going on inside. Okay, so I'm gonna share a little bit of my journey, and just to show you that you're not alone. You're not alone, and whilst what I've been experiencing, you're not necessarily going to experience, from what I've been learning and what I've come to know and understand, is that there are greater universal truths and greater realities that will be part of our collective reality as a human species. And yet, each of us individually, as we are individuals, will be seeing and feeling and experiencing things differently. So it's all very personal, and I'm kind of here to, put myself out there and for the intention of showing you that you're not going crazy and you probably are starting to see things differently in a different light, whatever that may be, and that this journey can be an interesting one. It can be quite unique in all the ways of however it is that you're experiencing. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't stop. So, I mean, so much of life in times gone by, it can just seem like we've got the blinkers on and that life's just doing its thing and it's the same old shit every day. But not anymore. Life is always ever changing. That is the constant. The only constant in the universe is change. And as human beings, we can be very resistant to change. Oh, yes. But we are very much in a time of change. We are on a planet, a living organism in this infinite universe, in this macrocosmic and microcosmic universe that is changing and shifting and evolving, entering this new cycle, a new era. So I've been on this journey for a while now, officially since 2012, when I went for a massive dark night of the soul. I hit rock bottom when I got run over and hit rock bottom. It was a big, big kick in the bum from the universe to shake shit up, to go, hey, it's time. It's time. It's time to awaken out of the illusion that so many of us have been in. And that can be frustrating. I remember being frustrated and sometimes infuriated, hearing comments like, oh, it's an illusion, it's not real. Because of course it's real. You're feeling it, you're living it, you're breathing it. Yet it's as you get more access, as we continue this this ascension process, this awakening into more of the spectrum of all that exists, we get access to more, and we see that what we've been living isn't just all that exists. So it very much is an illusion in many ways, because there's been certain agendas on the planet to keep us fixated in a lower state of existing, to manipulate and control us, and for whatever reasons. And we're not going to discuss that. It most likely will be part of your journey, and it's not for me to dictate what you're going to experience on your journey. But I'm aware that a big part of awakening is starting to see things that we didn't necessarily see before. Or maybe we saw them, but they didn't really register the way they may be now. And a big part of that is starting to see the darkness that has always been part of our reality, that has permeated the planet, that can be very obvious if you're ready to see it. And I always felt it. Even from a young child, I came here with that knowing of, like, things aren't right here on this planet. It's not meant to be like this. And so that can be something that you could be experiencing in maybe your early stages of awakening. But I'm kind of going to make it a little bit more playful and express and share some of the things that I've been experiencing in these later stages of my awakening journey, very particularly this past 3.5 years, when I went on nearly coming into 4 years, when I went on a second spiritual awakening, where things just really fucking blew open. They just, like, overnight, just things really shifted rapidly, like, just, oh my God, some of the things. So my intention for sharing some of these more out there, unique phenomena that I've been experiencing, that not necessarily you're going to experience right away, to let you know, to help you see that you are not alone. You are not alone, not at all. There's so many people experiencing some really, really unique, expansive, sometimes crazy, sometimes dark and scary. But there's lessons in that as well, that just shows you that there's nothing to fear other than fear itself. That's part of the illusion that we're leaving, right? Fuck that. Let's leave that behind. We don't want to bring that with us. And we can't bring that with us. And you wouldn't want to bring that with us where we're heading. There's so many people experiencing, they're opening up to more, right? All these unique senses and abilities and gifts. And you're not alone. Whatever it is that you are whatever it is that you possibly may be feeling and sensing and shifting into, and maybe, seeing and feeling things differently, or something's changing, right? And it's making you, like, feel different within. And I do remember in the early phases and years of awakening, it's just like it took me so many years of experiencing different phenomena and feelings and expansion of my own consciousness to believe in what I was experiencing, and to continue to shift my consciousness. Like, it's like, okay, you get a hit, something new happens, there's a bit more expansion, right? Because we're so much more than just our physical body. And it's like, there's something happening. There's something happening, but I don't quite necessarily believe it. And then more and more happens and occurs, and it just keeps opening up. All right. So let's just share a little bit. So I would continue along my path of awakening since 2012, and then again in end of 2018, where things really fucking blew open, like massively and overnight and a lot all at once. And my soul seemingly set that up in many ways for like, hey, let's shake shit up. Let's really experience a lot all at once. A dark night of the soul, devastated, broken heart, and all this magic and wonder and phenomena all happening all at once. It was like, it was wild. It was fucking lit day and night. I would go on to start to become visual, multidimensionally. I would start to get vision and sight. And that's where I very, very much thought I was going crazy, because I had these beings, these very evolved, benevolent race of beings known as the Arcturians, who are part of a planet near the star Arcturus, which is one of the brightest stars in the sky in the Boots constellation. I'm very connected to them as part of my kind of soul's contract here at this time. And when they opened up like a big portal, they opened up a portal, and I very much was aware of that. I could feel and I could see it nearly. It was like it was distorting my physical reality. It was like being held by angelic energy, right? And I thought that's what was going on in the first couple of months. It took me a little while before I was getting all the messages and the downloads, and started to realize, like, oh, okay, it's the Arcturians that answered my call when I was crying out for help, of mercy, like, it's hurting too much, like, mercy, like, please give me a break. And I felt that connection come in straight away. It's all really big and beautiful looking back, but at the time it was so painful. And but there's so much about that journey. I look back now and I'm like, wow, whoa, that was a lot. It was so painful, but it was so magical, and there was so much feeling going on. There was so much openness, so much sensing of new energies, and I would see movements in my peripheral, and movements and like things moving, and that would build up over months and months and months, and that would eventually a year, continue as I was ready for more. Would go on to see more and more form, and like lights and flashes and things happening, multidimensional things happening, and be like, and it was fairies. And I would go on to see fairies, like full form fairies, right? The fairies were there with me that first year, day and night. And those mischievous, beautiful little beings, they very much they didn't make me. I felt like I was going crazy. They're quite playful and mischievous. And after my ex left, this is how quickly things opened up overnight. I would go on to have my first physical ET encounter. And when I say physical, I didn't mean a being physically. Holographic light came into my room, Arcturian light, in a very physical manner. So it's not me seeing with my mind's eye, even though the third eye is kind of the antenna and the filter for receiving these new senses. But it was very physical. All my experiences have continued. There's a big part of my reality where it continued to build up and build up and build up, and it never stopped. It just kept building up and opening up, where it all became more and more physical. A big part of my journey is these Arcturian beings that I connect with. They're preparing me for physical ET contact. And that's been happening for nearly 4 years now. So I've experienced a lot. And it's been a really big journey. And so part of this, again, just to reiterate, part of this sharing is to say, hey, check this out. I know that maybe you're in the beginning of your journey and you may be questioning, like, reality at times and what it is that you're opening. What is it? What's changing? What's shifting? You're feeling different, right? I'm here to say it. Not only was I doing all that, experiencing all the subtleties and sometimes a little more obvious things for years and years and years, but as I would continue to expand and experience more, then the floodgates just opened up when they were destined to at that divine timing. And I started perceiving the new energy waves coming into the planet, because don't forget, we're part of a planet, this little living organism. And here you go, here could be our planet. It's a beautiful little planet as well. And we're orbiting the sun, hurtling through space, infinite space, at millions of miles an hour, continually. We kind of forget that. We kind of forget to acknowledge, because we don't always. It doesn't make sense to. Like, we're like, hey, I'm just trying to fucking survive here. Like, I'm just trying to, get by and enjoy life and pay the bills and enjoy and do the things. We kind of forget that we're part of a living organism, this beautiful planet that's very special in the universe. And she's going through her new cycle, her new phase of evolution. And it's a really big deal. And we're always moving through space, time and space. And we're now entering all these new energies. It's all new. There's a lot. Everything's connected. Consciousness, humanity, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. And I started perceiving overnight. I was sensing the energies for years and years, but then all of a sudden my inner ear just came online really strongly, and it was all of a sudden my reality was fizzy, and there was waves of energy every couple of days, just so intense. And then I would realize that it was vibrational frequency, and then that would continue and continue and continue. Like, I live in a sea of vibrational frequency. I'm quite clairaudient. So that was a thing that came online. I started having these more and more physical experiences. I started to see light beings, like forming into my room in the shape and height of a being, like a human being. And these light beings would just kind of at nighttime just kind of like walk around my bed, kind of just checking up on me, like, oh yeah, cool, he's on his next phase. Yeah, let's just check up on him, see how he's doing. Come back and check up on him every now and then. And I'd just be sitting there in a dark room, just watching light beings. And there were so many things I would go into experience. I would go into experience more and more contact with these physical Arcturian beings. I've not seen them in the full physical form yet, but I've seen the spaceship that I'm destined to go up in. I shared that experience with two other men on the Bibbleman. That was pretty fucking wild, let me tell you. This spaceship, like this magical day in this magical part of our magical lands here in the Southwest. And this spaceship, like, and we were just like, what the fuck? Just nuts, like, just wild. Couldn't believe we'd just experienced that. And I knew exactly who it was. It was the 4th/5th dimensional Arcturian beings, physical beings that I'm destined to meet. I've known this soul knowing has been developing as I've been going on my journey. Anyway, so there's some of the more unique things that can be said by someone and posted online. So you're not alone. If you're experiencing and feeling differently, and your internal reality is changing, and you're questioning things, and you're needing to acknowledge stuff that's just like sitting there and it's been brewing, and you're feeling it, you're feeling something's got to change, something's got to give, something's got to, maybe something's got to break, and you've got to make some changes, and you're noticing changes within, without. Welcome to Spiritual Awakening. It's a bit of a wild ride, but I want to give you a quick, an important side note. All right, it's not even a side note. It's like one of the most important things that someone like myself, with my old soul on this journey, and all that I'm learning from these benevolent beings who are known as one of the most evolved, highest races in the entire universe, and spiritually and technically advanced beyond comprehension. And there's so many beings here supporting us, benevolent, loving beings, because that's, I would like sort of call myself like a way shower, right? I've never got into terms and, but it's like, very much kind of someone that's like been to the depths of my own darkness and back and expanding. And it's just like, okay, so it's not all the dark, scary shit that you may be now starting to see and acknowledge a bit more and be like, hey, this is not good. Like, this is not going in a good direction. We're leaving all that behind. That's the old disease matrix 3D paradigm. That's the illusion. It's an illusion because now we're expanding into more and realizing that there is more and there always was more. Now we're getting more access to it because we're on this planet and everything in this very destined time for the planet to ascend into her next state of evolution, and we're part of her, all right? And it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. So it's not the darkness, it's not the fear and the control and the manipulation that there exists, it always did exist. You may be starting to see that more now and acknowledge it more now and become a bit more concerned about it. That's very much can be a part of early phases of awakening. It's time to leave all that behind. First, you need to learn about it and see it and realize that that's part of us as well, because we're part of the totality. To be a part of this planet, you have to be of a certain frequency match to exist here. So it's part of the Arcturian teachings of these, they're so evolved. They've been through their massive completion, even their planet of the universal sort of toroidal cycle, and they're masters at just wanting to help beings and civilizations and planets evolve and experience love and light and the good stuff. And that's where we're heading. We're heading into that. So it's going to be beautiful, and we're going to create our new reality and all these wild things that and I'll share more as we go. So you're not alone. You're not alone. Imagine how much I've been through. I don't know if you can, because I couldn't have never have imagined what I was going to go through. No fucking way could I have imagined what I was going to go on to experience and continue to experience. And it becomes more and more physical. I'm like so close to going up on a physical Arcturian spaceship. I shit you not. I wouldn't just say that for no reason. I've done a lot of work, a lot of inner work, a lot of healing, a lot of expansion, experiencing for years on end. Yeah, particularly in this past nearly 4 years, like far out. And it's been a lot to get me to this stage where I could be confident enough to go, hey, check this out. And it's to be in service, because that's what I'm here to do. Like, I'm here to have my own experience of life and reality and be in service to any and all at this time that are kind of seeking a little bit of like guidance of like, what's going on? What? So you're not alone. You're really not alone. And it's a great ride, and it's going to get better because we are coming into our own divinity. We're starting to, that's what we're going to be doing. We're coming into this, our own divine creatorship, where we learn more about the greater truths, the greater realities that have always been hidden from us, that are now opening up to us. All right. So we get to create more and stop being manipulated and fucked with by all these nefarious, malevolent beings and agendas that were always part of our history. And they're actually a part of us as well, because it's part of the totality of which we exist, and everything is connected. So we'll leave it there. Fuck all that dark shit. Let's create the new earth, and I'll have a feel into the next video. Much love. See ya.